Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Backstage Bikini podcast with your hosts, Grace and Jade. And this week we are reviewing and looking at the results of one of the most highly anticipated shows of the year. It is the prestigious NPC Jim Mannion's Pittsburgh Pro. So I was privileged enough to watch this show as well. Grace, I know that you were tied up at Muscle Contest Island as well at the same time, but I know that you kept up to date. What did you think?
It was like a mini Olympia, I have to say. The top two I thought was going to be different, but the winner was exactly who I expected it to be and who I thought it would be. Incredible lineup of ladies. I have to say the standard is so high, and it has me buzzing for more kind of pro shows like this year. New York Pro next weekend. But no, phenomenal stuff, and can't wait to go through all of the ladies and go through their physiques and everything. But little disclaimer, we don't claim to be judges or anything like that. This is literally just our opinions, given what we obviously know about bikini, and apologies if we say any names wrong. But Jade, what did you think of the lineup?
It was stunning, absolutely stunning. I think the top five did. My top three actually was a little bit out of order in terms of where they placed, but looking at the actual presentations on stage and things like that, it did make a lot of sense. And from finals, really, sort of prejudging to finals, I didn't see that much disparity either. A lot of the athletes came in just as strong as they did in prejudging, and usually that's an opportunity to peak. But I think that's just credit to the athletes and the coaches for getting the girls ready in such a perfect way. Really, they all looked fantastic. I don't think anybody particularly stood out in terms of missing the mark or anything like that. I think it was a very consistent show in terms of people showing up extremely well positioned to do their very best. So yeah, let's get into it.
I agree. Who did you have as your order of top three?
I had Amy and then Romina.
Yeah.
And then Ashley. Yeah. Having seen Romina post, it was her back shot. Did you see that glute shot before she went on? Well, it was a couple of days out, and the fullness, like I've never seen Romina look like that from the back. And I think she's just getting better and better each showing. I think Ashley this time round, not to sort of break into the positions and the placings straight away, but I think Ashley is a bit of a chameleon in bikini. It's so impressive to see how she adapts to each showing depending on who's there and who she's coming up against. So I did have Romina second. I must say.
As did I. So we'll go through the placing. So first is Amy, second is Ashley Kay, third Romina, fourth Vanya, I'm going to say, fifth Lexus, and then sixth is Jessica Wilson. I did have Romina second as well, and to be honest, looking at the lineup, I still think she should have come second personally, just because of what they looked for with Amy and the glutes. And I think the closest to that then, and to me, the closest to Miss Bikini Olympia was Romina from the back shot. Potentially there was different reasons. Like I think when it comes to bikini, it's like there's Amy and then there's Ashley. And I think they're like Amy is really pushing the boundaries. And then people obviously believe that Ashley is bikini and what it should look like. So to me, I thought they were actually two very, very different physiques. Like you said, I do think that Ashley did push it to try and get as close to Amy as possible. But in my view, I thought that Romina was actually the closest to Amy and the closest to Maureen, in my opinion as well. Still absolutely stunning, still bikini, still incredible and admirable. But for me, I just had those kind of placings a little bit different. But it was epic to see the two black hairs and the two red bikinis. Even looking at the videos of them, they were very much in sync with their posing as well, which was cool.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I just completely agree. I think Ashley is the standard, isn't she, throughout the pro shows? I mean, the number of pro wins that she has under her belt now, I think we're in the 53, 54 sort of mark at the moment. So she very much does set the standard at 90% of these shows. Like Ashley is the one to beat. I think when you're bridging the sort of top six Olympia girls, that's when she starts to waver really in placings and things like that. But credit to her and Adam, though. I think the way she brought her physique up, like fullness, we'll see it in a minute. when you actually put her and Amy side by side, even though they are quite different in terms of musculature and sort of the size on their frames, and the frame size and the proportions are very different. I think the way that they filled Ashley out, for the first time, honestly, I didn't feel like she felt too far out of place in that top six
Yeah,
in terms of her physical sort of size
yeah.
versus the other girls. I think this is the closest match I've seen her, and that's without putting any substantial muscle on as well. So fair play to the pair of them. Don't know how they did it.
Yeah, because Amy is, she is pushing it, and I know fullness wise as well, they do push it, so big credit to them there, and how they were able to peak Ashley going into this show. Be interesting to see how they approach the coming shows with a different lineup of athletes potentially. Maybe Amy is taking a break in preparation for the Olympics. So it'll be interesting to see what Ashley is up against in the future as well. But you can see the scorecard here as well. All of the different athletes, and we'll run through a few of them later on, but we'll just go through, I suppose, the first call outs. Really good shots here that you managed to grab from NPC News Online. And you can really see, like what you said there, Jade, about the different structures between the two of them. Amy is on the shorter side, and she just looks a lot more compact, and it actually makes Ashley look quite tall. And I know Ashley isn't the tallest of athletes, but here she is. But it's very interesting to see the structure, because Amy is quite bottom heavy as well, like her glutes, the actual size of them. I know Ashley has, her glutes do pop, but the length of them almost, do you know what I mean, are so different. And even her upper body. But to me, there's more of an X frame on Amy, even with that. I think, yes, she is pushing the boundaries of bikini, but there's a lot more balance there, even with that,
And I think she's got very wide clavicles, like her upper sort of structure as well is very well matched. And I think if she was to downsize, because I know that there is an argument for her being too heavily muscled, and that argument's been put out there quite frequently, but if you actually look at her structure and her clavicles and sort of her shoulder width, you match that. If you brought anything down in a lower body, I think she'd be out of proportion. I think her over body would then overpower her structure lower body wise. So this is the beauty of this sport though as well, because you could get that same musculature on Ashley, for example, and it wouldn't look right. So the beauty of this sport is actually matching it to your physique and to your strengths, and working to your strengths. And I mean, even in that shot there, that front shot with Ashley, she doesn't look too far off. She doesn't. I mean, I completely agree with Romina though. I think Romina's front shot and her proportions are very well matched to Amy's, and like we said, Maureen's as well. But stunning physiques.
And it's like what Adam says, it's about filling out your frame, and you can talk about the size thing all along, but like if you're filling out that frame, it's going to look good on stage, as long as you're not like getting close to wellness or figure, which I don't think these girls are. I think, to me, Amy is bikini. Like, she is probably one of my favorite physiques at the moment, like topping out Laura Lee at this stage. I really like her physique, and I love her posing. And I like the way that she is a smaller athlete, and she manages to hold it really well. It doesn't look too much or anything like that. And I just love her look. I really have to say, I really do love it. And the glutes as well, not too conditioned from the rear whatsoever. You kind of compare that to what you see in Europe and even the UK, and it's you have those kind of fully etched tie-ins and these kind of pro shows over here, but that is a bikini look on the rear shot. Romina, potentially that was her downfall, was that
a little bit too hard.
Too hard. But
looking at it there comparative, because even Lexus has got a stunning structure as well. She reminds me a lot of gosh, her name has completely gone out of my head now, but structurally she's quite similar to the likes of Amy as well, those really wide clavicles. So her tie-in actually is quite defined as well. But I think from Romina's back shot comparative to the rest of the girls in there, I think that bottom, just the bottom of the tie-in, ever so slightly etched, comparative to Ashley as well. Ashley's sort of back shot flows really lovely, and she's actually got quite a nice sweep on the back there, which is not something, again, I wonder if that's fullness and the way that they've peaked her, but I haven't particularly seen that from Ashley before.
Ashley's
So
hamstrings, you can actually really notice, and I've never really noticed it that much in previous shows. So potentially that filling up, it just made her hamstring kind of pop a little bit more, because you can't really see the hamstring detail as much on the other athletes if you look at this.
No,
which is interesting. And I'd love to hear Adam's feedback as well from the show and what they thought, because I know he likes to go through things with a fine-tooth comb as well. Regardless of how well she does, you know, they can be very, very critical of her looks. It'd be interesting to see what they think. But I know with Ramina, if she was to, I know there's the argument that if she was to fill out her glutes a little bit more, make them a little bit more softer, then her midsection would go as well. So it's trying to find that balance between making sure your midsection is tight and that you have the, you know, the right tie-ins as well, that it's not too much or too little. So
yeah, and she's just off the back of a win, Ramina, as well. And I think that goes to show everything, doesn't it? Like from peak to peak, you have the manipulation, you have the luxury really to manipulate the look and see what it's going to look like and where you stand up against the athlete. So I think it could even potentially be a little bit of a I don't know, an example or like a bit of a test almost to see what looks are working for her and what looks aren't, because she's already secured the Olympia invite in the previous show. So yeah, it'd be amazing. It was Day Raja as well that I was comparing to Lexus. I feel like she's very Day Raja. Her name just dropped in. I was like, there.
yeah. Very, very similar. Glutes as well. And I love the pink bikini. Is this Jess Wilson or is this
Yeah, on the
really,
far
really
right.
like that look, to be honest. The pink with the blonde, I think, is fab. And the pink actually came up a lot at the Muscle Contest Ireland that I was at. The girl that won a pro card was wearing a pink bikini. And there was another blonde girl in pink. So it's definitely a color of the season now. And I don't think it looks out of place. I know a lot of us were kind of questioning it at the time, but it fits in really, really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's feminine.
Really,
yeah, it's feminine, but like you said, I think if you have the right complexion as well, I think it's a difficult one to carry, but if you have the right complexion and the hair color and things like that, it's stunning. It's really feminine, like I said, and it is Maureen's signature color as of the Olympia. So it's like no surprise that it's filtering through. Yes,
it's fab though. It is fab with that kind of blonde hair as well, the contrast, and it doesn't, you know, blend in with the background, which is always the fear. So I was even thinking about it myself when I was looking at all the pink bikinis. I was like, I might just give it a go. We'll see.
Absolutely, do it. It'd be incredible. But no, that lineup was just insane.
Yeah,
absolutely
really
insane.
No, to me, Amy is like, I know Ashley is like the reigning champ, but to me, Amy's the new GOAT, I think.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. She's the one to beat, and I'm sure some coaches, Adam said it, and I'm sure it was Paul Revelia that said it last year as well, that she is very much one to watch, and I think she's come into her season this year, and I know she put quite an emotional post up as well on Instagram on the back of this win about specifically her daughter, because I don't know whether anybody doesn't know this, but she's a mother as well on top of it all, and I just think that managing being a mother and committing yourself to the degree in which these athletes have to commit themselves is just crazy. But it
just goes to show what you can actually achieve, because I know a lot of people, they worry, you know, I even have clients like post kids, is it even possible? And like, look at her, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not just genetics, it's hard work as well. So anybody can achieve it. But like, even just looking at this shot, I don't think there was a hair out of place with Amy's physique, really looking at it.
No,
like that is
no.
I think she could be in the top 2, top 3 Olympia this year.
100%. If she nails the condition this way, then absolutely. I mean, you can see it with the comparison with Ashley on the previous slide. Like her back shot as well is very, very Maureen. I mean, potentially, I don't know whether it's the actual positioning of the photography there and where she is. It almost looks like her upper glute looks squared off on the left, but it definitely wasn't. I think that's just a poor image, really. Not poor for the photographer, but in terms of placement. But you can just see the fullness in the glute and the upper glute as well compared to Ashley. And I think that just ultimately, I think that's what won it, because Ashley is hard to beat from the front. She is hard to beat from the front, but from the back, that fullness is sort of quite different.
Yes, it is. Like, you can even see the shine, the amount of shine. Like, I just find her X frame absolutely incredible. The condition was nailed with Fit Body Fusion. I know she keeps a very, very close eye on her athletes as well. I just love everything about it, I have to say. I really, really do. I'd love to know other people's thoughts as well, because it's either, I think when it comes to what you look for in bikini, it's either your team Amy or team Ashley. I know there's a very, very split idea of what people like. Some people like the kind of more muscular, bigger look that is harder to achieve, and some people prefer the more realistic. To me, I think that, you know, with bikini just growing and growing, that standard is going to change, you know. And it's the same with figure, like they don't look the same. And I personally, if I was what, you know, the bikini idea is how you want to walk around looking like all the time. I would want to look like Amy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that to me is like, okay, that's bikinis. That's how I'd want to walk around on the beach looking like.
Well, it's bubbly, isn't it? It's that bubbly muscle look, and Adam's spoken about it quite a lot, and we've sort of commented on where it can sort of be apparent, and then where an athlete can potentially come in a little bit too conditioned and lose that bubble. But ultimately, that exuding healthy look is that bubble. It's that fullness. Yes, we know that these athletes are conditioned within an inch of their life, but the reality of it is that they're not supposed to look that way. So I think with Ashley, because she is a smaller frame, I think she can potentially look leaner, and potentially even not even in an obtainable manner as well, because she naturally sits quite lean herself anyway. She's got a real athletic figure. So I think a lot of it from my preference as well. I mean, I feel like I'd probably be able to achieve more of a Amy look rather than an Ashley look, just because I have muscle bellies from previous sort of sporting and dancing backgrounds as well. So I think a lot of it lies in where you feel like you fit as well, and your preference is going to sit with somewhere where you feel like you can actually achieve that look or emulate your version of that look anyway. But
really
Amy's one of my favorites,
and I think even looking at the midsections as well, I do find that Ashley, it almost looks like she's vacuuming a little bit with that, and her stomach's kind of sunken in a little bit. For me, the healthier look is with Amy as well.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, Ashley's, I don't even know if she's got any organs in there. Like, really, it's tiny and very, very, very minute waistline. But then again, like you said, they don't want to see ribs. They don't want to see a flare sort of the upper chest where the ribs are sticking out. It's all supposed to be, for want of a better word, healthy. It's supposed to exude health and femininity. So I mean, those finer details are the things that separate you at that level as well. That's the reality of it. And once you get there, those are the things that all matter. So she's incredible.
Let's pull up Amy's video. Her posing as well, I find it very different, which I like. Is this the one? Yeah, this it. I just find it very, very different, the way she moves her hands, but nothing is forced at all.
Yeah,
just it's that way.
She's also very modest, isn't she? She's quite candid on stage. She's confident, but she's not like a lot of the girls, or some of the girls have like that sass, and they have that sort of sexy, sort of sultry kind of posing. I think Maureen's very much on that level. Like, she's very, everything's very purposeful. I feel like Amy's a little bit more free on stage, but there is not a hair out of place. So that is something that she has practiced over and over and over again, obviously. But it just looks very candid is probably the best word I can.
And use. I think she could give Laura Lee a run, and Maureen a run for their money at the Olympia this year. Like, I can't see much difference in those physiques now, like, looking at this.
No. I think Amy's I think Amy's sort of challenge in previous seasons has been like sort of tailoring that quad to make sure that it doesn't look too heavy. And I mean, she has very, very developed lower body. There's no denying that at all, but I think she's done an incredible job this year of really streamlining that quad, and a lot of it will be pose and manipulations and the way she's peaking and her training, things like that. I think it's all come together this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's flick through. So big shout out to our UK athlete Marnie Al-Saraf. Looked absolutely stunning up there. Didn't look out of place at all. This is the third call outs. I think she placed about 14th. Is that correct?
14th.
17, 18, I think. which is very, very impressive. And I know she did struggle a lot with the travel and jet lag. So, you know, peak week is never easy. Traveling is never easy, but throw in jet lag in there. And I know she was on her own. I can only imagine it was a tough couple of days. And then there was obviously the late show. And I think she thought she was going to be doing finals the next day. So I'd say there was a bit of stress there. So with that, I think she did an incredible job of the package she brought, because I know I would struggle if I was in that position. And it was a big pro debut. You know, she was stepping on a massive stage.
Huge.
I know she's
And
very
she was
grateful to be up there.
She was the first one out there as well. So as in like the first person to step foot on stage as a bikini pro in those lineups. She was the first one out there. And my God, you wouldn't have known. Honestly, like watching her, I got goosebumps. I almost teared up when I was watching. I was screaming at my phone, not that she could hear me, but it was just an incredible moment. And I think credit to Marnie as well. Like she's been that's a scary debut, right? Like a USA show is probably one of the biggest. Like you said, it's a mini Olympia. To get herself up there and put herself in the Shark Tank, because that's exactly what she did, and carry herself the way she did is just incredible. And I don't think I could do it personally. I don't think my ego could take it, if I'm entirely honest. I think I'd need to warm myself in.
Yeah, no, but she threw herself in the deep end, and it's like she's done it now. Like you can't, the next step up from here is the Arnold's. So it's like any other show she does from here, it won't seem as scary. Do you know what I mean?
No.
She literally stood on the highest level stage she could on next week as well. So 2 in a row. Like your own, it's only going to get easier from here when it comes to managing those kind of nerves as well. And I really I love Marnie, and I admire her headspace so much and how she's approached going into this season as well. Because not, like you said, I don't think many people would do that. You know, most people turn pro and they take the time off, or then they do smaller shows in Europe and the UK. But she just threw herself in and she made the trip. And I know it'll pay off for her in the long run when the dust settles, because I can imagine it was just a hectic few days with all the travel. And sometimes it doesn't really sit in just yet. And I'm sure it will in time. But incredible. Posing, 100%. Flawless as always. Bikini, I don't know, is it the same one? I think there's a little bit of pink in there, but I think that kind of purple, pink, red look definitely suits her more than the blue that she had at the regional as well.
Yeah, I think she said that it felt quite cold looking, and I completely agree. I think warmer tones definitely suit her and her look. But like just from a physique level as well, I think muscularity, I don't think, we said it before, I don't think she has much to do at all. She didn't stand out in terms of looking small. I think the majority of it is just bedding in that muscle now and getting it really dense, because a lot of those girls have been competing at that level for such a long time, and they are literally etching in that muscle year by year by year and really bedding it in. So I think that's going to be the only difference between her and the top girls at this moment in time. I think it's that density that will come with time, but from a muscular standpoint and actually getting up there and being in the mix with those girls, she did not look out of place. And I know that was the only thing that she was bothered about at that point. So, and
because of her frame, because she's a little bit shorter, I don't think she's got far to go at all. Be interested what her feedback is, and I'm sure she'll share the details with us, and hopefully we can get her on again when the dust settles and she can tell us all about her season as well. But I've been keeping up to date on her YouTube as well. But massive congrats, Marnie, and we can't wait to review the New York Pro with her this weekend as well. I don't know what the lineup is. I'm sure it'll be released in a couple of days, but we'll definitely do a review of that.
100%. They usually tease it out, don't they, a couple of days before?
Yeah.
So this one, Priscilla and Brittany Hamilton. I mean, Brittany Hamilton's a former Olympian. So, and this was 6th and 7th. Now, Priscilla, since the UK Pro, the One Pro show, has definitely improved since then. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. She definitely looks a lot tighter in the rear shot. That's for sure. She's got an incredible, I said it on the last thing as well. And if she can kind of bring it in, I do think the Olympia qualification is there, to be honest with you. I think she's a taller athlete, but her proportions are insane. Maybe potentially a little bit leaner still, even again, but her front shot is perfect. Do you know the kind of, I don't think there's a hair out of place here. And maybe it is just time. Maybe it's just picking the right shows as well. Be interesting to see if she was to go back to the UK, with an improved or not the UK, but Europe with an improved physique, how she would stand.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. I think there's still a lot, well, there's still movement. I wouldn't say a lot, but there is still movement, especially through the back shot, like you said. But I mean, her midsection's gorgeous as well, really long. It reminds me of sort of Laura Lee's midsection, or like Janet Leigh's like midsection, very long, very tight. And sort of comparing her to Brittany, who came 7th, so Priscilla placed 6th. Their midsections, Brittany I think actually has a tighter midsection. Hers is very, very slim, but I don't know what went on with Brittany's back shot. There was a bit of a bend in the knee again, and I'm not sure why, but like quite purposeful. And I mean, I can see from the upper glute there's definitely a pop there, so maybe that's why. Because if you look at their back shots, really, yeah. Yeah, and I think actually if Brittany had perhaps straightened that back shot out, I think she probably would have peaked Priscilla on that back shot, because her glutes, they're more conditioned and they're very full. So I really do actually like her glutes.
She's very full, isn't she?
Yeah,
But you can see it in this front shot. I think for me, that's like almost a little bit too lean here. It's what kind of Adam always speaks about, is having that kind of detail in the other leg, like a little bit of detail, but not too much. And I don't think she even needed to kind of squat down like that. I think she does have enough muscle, and you can see how full her delts are. So I don't think from a muscle standpoint, that's an issue for her. I really, really like her physique, but I don't think this was.
No, and if you look at the comparison actually on that back shoulder, that how etched her delt is on that back shoulder compared to Priscilla's, like there's a lot more conditioning through the arms as well. And at the end of the day, that it's the fine line, isn't it? I mean, that front shot as well, I feel like I need her hips to move a little bit that way.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Because
just to like tighten that core.
Waist, but I think she's making it look a touch bit bigger, and they did probably fill up quite heavily. So it's like you need to be conscious of that kind of food volume as well.
On the gut itself.
Yeah. But I really like her physique, and I think same as Brazil. I think she has an Olympia qualification this year as well. But it's just choosing getting the right peak, and I know her and Paul will definitely get it right. But I do love her muscularity, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's structure again. Like you can't deny her structure. She's made for bikini, and it's stunning. And when she gets it right again, it'll be one that will be incredibly tough to beat. And credit to Paul as well, like he knows exactly what he's doing. So I don't believe for 1 minute that it's a misguided thing. At the end of the day, at this level, you are manipulating what you can with that athlete at that time, and it all depends on who they show up against and what the looks like across the board. But I mean, look, those the glutes are incredible. Really, really are incredible. And a touch too hard, I think, in comparison to the other girls that placed above her.
100. I think when you have this much muscle and you are that lean, I think you've got a lot of things to juggle down on peak week, and you need to be extra careful compared to, like an Ashley who, is kind of very, very similar kind of year round. There's nothing too crazy. Her peaks are, that bit easier to manage and more predictable, should you say. But I think, I've seen Brittany look different at shows before, look a little bit tighter and not as full. So it'd be interesting to see how she does in the coming shows as well. She doesn't actually post that much. Where did she place in the Charlotte Pro actually?
I think she was second.
Third,
yeah. Because Charlotte Pro, who won the Charlotte Pro? I think it was Lexus.
Yeah.
Was it Lexus who won it? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was actually.
Like even just looking at her check-in shots here, it does look like she filled up quite heavily for this show. Even if you just compare those two, the kind of midsection as well. But it would be very, very interesting to see how she turns up now again, as well.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Lexus, it was Vanya.
Yes,
I knew it was one of them. Vanya placed in this show, and she's just recently got her Olympia qualification. But interesting though. I mean, Vanya placed ahead of her again, but even still, with the other girls in the mix, she was 4th. So here
we go. Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah,
incredible. I just wanted to pull up Vanya's posing as well, because I was very, very impressed with this posing, if it would play. I love it. I just thought it was so flawless. Her turn to the back,
Stunning.
The upper body muscle, but you know, some people might call it too muscular, but I think in proportion to even her lower half, I think it's perfect.
Yeah. And again, like, she's not particularly tall.
Yeah.
So I think from a muscularity standpoint, I think she's filled out her frame perfectly. Again, maybe even a little bit more. I wouldn't even say it's conditioned through the back, maybe a little bit more fuller just to pull that tie in. But I mean, that's
I
you're
love her
talking
shape.
hairlines now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stunning. Really
gorgeous,
like her.
gorgeous. And her yeah, just
Wow.
very flawless. I mean, look at that.
I need to get to
I
work.
might even, huh?
Need to get to work on my posing. I look at this, I'm like, oh Lord, I'm going to be texting Marnie in a second.
Literally, like, Marnie, can we do 5
Yeah.
posing sessions per day, please? Thank you.
Oh God. And her
But
posing
yeah,
was phenomenal. Amazing. I think we've covered pretty much everyone. Obviously, shout out to Petra, who competed from the UK as
yes.
well. I know she's done a couple of pro shows the last few years in Europe and the US as well. So exciting to see how she progresses throughout this year and what other shows she's doing. Did we miss anyone? Malu Duarte from Brazil.
Yes.
Really, really love her physique, I have to say. And I know she's
And
kind of a big contender, isn't she?
mm,
Moment,
yeah, absolutely.
if we can pull her.
Absolutely. Kathy Seltz as well, which is another one of Paul Ravella's clients. She turned pro not too long ago actually as well, and she's in the mix already. She's doing incredibly well. Some of her shows, and she's getting second and third call outs, I think, at the moment. I'm sure she got a first call out recently as well. But Kathy Seltz is a new pro, fairly new. But again, one that's I think's going to be climbing up the ranks very
All
soon.
these ones to watch, and especially if they're that touch bit younger as well, you know, they've only got room to progress within the sport. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season unfolds. Now we've kind of kicked it off with a big one now and another big one this weekend, which we'll be sure to review. But any other comments, Jade, on the show before we wrap it up?
No, just very, 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 very good standard. Like I said, there was nobody that particularly stood out to have got things disastrously wrong either way. And at this level, you'd expect not, but I think there's always room because people are coming in so damn near perfect. It's very obvious sometimes if somebody's missed the mark, but just the standard across the board throughout the entire class was just insane. So yeah, huge well done to the ladies that competed. Really,
Absolutely.
incredible show.
Yeah. And guys, let us know what you thought in the comments below on YouTube, or drop us a line on Instagram what you thought as well, because we absolutely love doing these and they hop off on YouTube as well. Did you think Amy deserved it? What's your idea of Bikini? And who do you think is kind of even the biggest dark horse that is coming up in the ranks as well? We'd love to hear from you. But any of the feedback, do let us know, shout us out on Instagram, all that good stuff. And we will catch you guys in the next podcast.
Chat soon.